to Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. I am Lorianne Casdia. A goal here at Healthy Lifestyle is to inspire, educate, and empower you to fulfill a healthy, emotional, spiritual, and physical life so you can feel empowered to live the life you have always wanted and dreamed. Welcome to the show. I'm really pleased and honored to have someone on today who is doing something that is a real passion of mine as well. And I love to get some feedback from our listeners as far as the passion that you have for this, because it's something, when I brought it into my life, changed my life in such a deep way that it really has become part of my life, everyday life. So who we have on today is, we are welcoming Lisa Bondy to the show. She works at the Lead Wellness. She is the Lead Wellness Instructor, Center for Wellness and Integrative Medicine in the Northwell Health Education area. She's in that team, which is really great. She's a devoted yogi and meditator for over 35 years with over 15,000 hours of teaching experience. She's a master yoga teacher who inspires many over 2 decades of teaching on Long Island to become practitioners and to train with her to become yoga teachers, which is so awesome. That is such a great practice to bring into your life. Lisa's teaching style is masterful and empowering. She inspires all of her students, from teen elite athletes to fabulous other entrepreneurs, to move beyond their bounds of the mind and expand into the experience of authenticity and self-realization. And you know, we talk about this on the show all the time, the importance of being genuine and authentic, and waking up from the sleep that we are kind of lulled into through this process of growing on Earth. Lisa's intention and expertise lies in her ability to lead students on a healing, transformational journey, body, mind, and soul. I love this. Part 2. Lisa is a natural gourmet and a macrobiotic cook who has been part of the organic and holistic health lifestyle movement for the past 30 years. She is definitely a trailblazer without a doubt. Her passion is clean living, eating, and detoxification, cleansing, believing both enhance a greater and direct experience of vibrant living and robust health. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Lorianne. And wow, I'm really happy to be here.
I'm so glad you're here, and it's so timely because it's Yoga Awareness Month.
Yeah, imagine that. I love that it's Yoga Awareness Month. Because to me, if you were to distill what yoga means into 2 words, it would be cultivating awareness.
Nice. So I like that. Yeah, no. And here we are cultivating awareness. You're right. So let's break this down for our listeners. So what is yoga?
That's a really good question. So yoga is an ancient science of health and healing and transformation, really. It is now actually regarded in the Western world as a holistic approach to health. And it's classified by the National Institutes of Health as a form of complementary and alternative medicine. Did you know that? Isn't that amazing? Yoga.
Actually, I did, because I am a Kundalini yoga practitioner. I am a certified Kundalini practitioner.
So you know that it's a form of complementary and alternative medicine?
Yes, I do. And you know what is exciting to me? It's really being integrated into our medical system here in what we refer to fondly as Western medicine. And I'm loving the beginning of that integration, because it used to be poo-pooed. Now it's being integrated. Now they're getting how it works. Now they're understanding that the body, mind, soul needs to be nurtured, and we need to look at each person holistically when we're looking at them medically.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And it's such a privilege for me. And I get such a kick out of the fact that, you know, I'm actually involved in this shift. And because it's like you, something I truly, believe in for a very long time.
Yeah, and I love that you have this passion about it. And how cool are you to be part of the shift, to be part of this movement, intentionally or unintentionally? And we all know things don't happen by coincidence; things happen with purpose. But that you're part of the shift. You're just the coolest. I'm telling you, Lisa. It's so cool.
Right, and you could tell that to my kids.
I will, because they'll believe it because I'm a stranger.
Yeah, right.
I used to say that about my kids. I'm like, hold on, let me go get a stranger from the street. They're going to tell you the same thing, but you're going to believe them.
Yeah, right. It's so funny, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah. So yoga is, so that's one way to look at yoga.
So what does the word yoga mean? I mean, it involves breath, right?
Well, yes. The word yoga means union. Mm-hmm. It means connection, and it connotes integration. Mm-hmm. So it comes from the Indic root yuj, which means to yoke, like when you would yoke two oxen together to pull a plow. So it means to connect or integrate. And so that kind of begs the question, so what are we looking to integrate, right? What are we looking to connect? And I know that everyone is going to be able to answer this, because in this day and age, we all know that we're looking to integrate and connect. Go ahead, you tell us, Lori.
Body, mind, and soul.
There you go. Because here's the thing, like, we all walk around pretty disconnected a lot of the time, especially when we're stressed, right? And
so let me just interrupt for a second and back up to that disconnection, because I know you and I understand this, but it took me a while. I mean, this is a recent understanding of actually realizing that you're disconnected, but we're just kind of going through the motions. Isn't that what you mean by the disconnect?
Yeah, it is. And it is. It's like going through the motions, exactly, or being on automatic pilot, right? Like where, you could drive to work and you don't even remember how you got there because your mind was like in the conversation that you had with your husband or with your kids beforehand, or, just like really, being disembodied. It's really nothing to be, beat yourself up about. It's what we all go through, because everybody is multitasking and everybody is stressed and everybody is, just trying to get so much done.
And we really want to be present. And when you're present, you're not disconnected. And that's what we're lacking, because we're just doing too many things, and we're having so much input between TV and social media and news and all this other stuff coming at you. Forget about everyday life, meaning our children and our spouses or significant others and work coming in at us. When you put all that together, it's a lot of what I call white noise in our head, right?
Oh, that is such a good point. Really, that is such a good point. Yeah, we are bombarded. Our senses are bombarded all the time by so much, right? I mean, it's a lot different than when you're walking in the forest, right? When your senses are like calmed, right, by the nature around you. But, all of the screens and all of the chatter, and it's really, it takes us out and away from our own what's within, which is just peace, really. Right. So yoga is a practice that kind of draws the senses back inside.
Yeah, I kind of refer to that meditation and yoga as a way to go back inside, like you said, but also calm down all that noise, chatter in your head, all that stuff, 100%. Because our heads shouldn't have all that stuff going on where it's constant in the background, like we have a whole school room full of children talking in our heads. It should be quiet. And that's why that walk in the park, that walk in the forest is so calming, because you can shut that all down. And that's what yoga and meditation does. And the combination of the two is just magical, because it really has you going inside and I think our listeners here have heard me say this a number of times. Our success codes are in us when we're born. We come pre-packaged, factory installed success codes, but we don't go inside. We go outside of ourselves as opposed to trusting our intuition and going inside. And isn't that one of the purposes of the yoga practice, is to go inside and quiet the mind and really, really utilize our bodies to strengthen them in such a way through the yoga positions, which, by the way, I challenge anybody, any weightlifter, do yoga versus weightlifting, and it will be the same effect.
So interesting. One of the things that, I'm going to get a little nitty gritty into yoga.
Bring it.
Here and
Bring it. I love it.
And talk about, the second sutra of the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali.
Yes.
So the second sutra in Sanskrit states Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha, which really translates into when the disturbances or fluctuations of the mind stuff or consciousness are resolved or cease, then the state of yoga is achieved. So it's really very much what you're saying. When you can calm the mind and remove those, disturbances, then you have achieved the state of yoga, which I always find really fascinating to think of, that yoga is not just, it's a verb and it's a noun, right? So it's something that we practice, it's something that we do in order to achieve a state of being,
right?
Which is yoga, right?
Yeah.
Which is, I think it's amazing. I just love that.
Yeah, I love the hows and the whys of yoga. I really do. I mean, it's interesting. And I had a friend of mine who's very, very athletic, and I was like, come on, let's go do yoga. And so we went and did yoga, and we're holding, a couple of the positions. And as he's holding them, he looks over to me and he goes, "This isn't easy." He said, I used to make fun of this, but he goes, "This is really severely difficult." And I said, well, difficult. I said, it is a challenge, but what we're doing is we're really gaining control of our body, mind, and soul by doing it, because you really have to focus on your breathing. You have to hold those positions and poses, and that takes a lot of muscular strength. So it involves strength. It involves breath. And it involves internally quieting the mind, because you can't have all that noise going on and keep your balance, right?
Well, that's really true. And balance is definitely the key. I want to just say that, yes, I've had a lot of athletes in my class, and I've had a lot of, one of my dear friends actually came into my class 10 years ago, and he was just kind of swaggered in and thought, oh, this is nothing.
Yeah.
And he was literally falling over and couldn't, and he was like, what is this? What am I doing? Anyway, he ended up taking teacher training, and he's a wonderful teacher now.
Yeah.
And a great guy. But beyond that, I do want to say that, this shouldn't scare people either, because yoga can be okay. So
it's like any sport, though. You need to work your way up. So you can go in with yoga and just start at the beginning, and you just learn. You learn. It's almost like a dance, and it's repetitive. So it's very. I don't mean to oversimplify it, but it really is easy as far as that goes. And then it's the perfecting of each of the movements and the flow of it, because it helps with even our meridians. The flow within our body is also part of this, right? So, and the nervous system gets involved, because we have the fight, flight, and freeze, right?
Yes.
And
yes.
Let's talk more about that, the nervous system yoga and the fight, flight, and freeze.
Okay, I will definitely get there. I just want to say that in terms of my own teaching and how we teach here at the Center for Wellness, that it's a real principle that every person is seen as an individual and their needs are as unique. And our approach is always geared toward that unique individual.
Sure. Nobody
is ever feeling like, oh my God, this is too hard, or I can't do this, or,
You meet them where they are. I know when I coach people, I need to meet them where they are. I don't come in at the same level I would a Fortune 100 CEO as I would with a new entrepreneur. That wouldn't happen. So the same thing with yoga is you don't go in with them at the level that they've been doing this for 30 years like you or 35 years like you. You go in that, this may be the first time they've ever engaged in it. And like anything else, when you start, it's baby steps. It's one move at a time. And that's all we need to focus with. And therein lies being present, because we're working on this one position. We don't have to worry about the 5 down the road. We're working on this one position. And that's the consciousness that we're looking to succeed with, right? And there's where I think you see the health coming in, because they're really doing a holistic work with their yoga, right?
100%. So people who practice yoga report feeling healthier, more connected, less anxious, less angry,
sure,
happier, more purposeful, and grateful. Which I think is really amazing. Yoga, and how is it? So yoga builds strength, it builds stability, it builds flexibility, balance, joint health, focus, concentration, confidence, self-acceptance, a sense of connection, community, and it even can help you to lose weight or gain weight depending on what you are in need of.
Right.
And how does that all work? And now I'm going to get you to the nervous system. Really, it all works because of the nervous system, because of how it affects the nervous system, among other things.
Well, this is another reason why stress is so impactful, because that affects the nervous system. Yeah. So let's do it from the positive side. How is yoga affecting the nervous system?
How is yoga affecting the nervous system? Okay, so let's just talk about stress for a second. So stress is defined medically as, in a biological or medical context, stress is a physical or mental emotion or emotional factor that causes bodily or mental tension. So stress is hardwired. Our survival is hardwired into our nervous system, right?
Sure.
When we detect a stressor as a threat or a danger, our nervous system kicks in to the fight or flight or freeze mode, which is the sympathetic nervous system response.
Right.
And in that response, and we feel this all the time, right? We feel this when we lose our keys or when we can't find our wallet, or and that's really the problem.
But
or we're running really late, then we get what happens? Our heart rate goes up, our blood pressure goes up, the blood flows to the extremities and flows to the extremities and away from the internal organs. And there's a decrease in the essential functions like digestion and metabolism.
Well, yes, yes, and this is inherent in us, because we were programmed to fly away from maybe a lion coming in at us so we could run away. It's like, problems. The problem here, though, is if we keep our stress level up high all the time, it's like running a car, putting it in first gear, trying to go uphill and just keep working that motor. We are constantly on that gas, trying to, wind ourselves up that hill, and you can't sustain that. And that's where the stress is really breaking down the rest of our systems, because while everything is going to oh my gosh mode, the rest of our body is like, okay, I have to be in standby mode. I have to wait for everybody else to get in a line. And that's just a natural discourse. So we need to be able to calm ourselves down.
That's right.
And save that energy for something stressful, like, I don't know, car's coming at me, let me get out of the way. Otherwise, we would just stand there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And as we override that system, we weaken our immunity, and we increase when we override our sympathetic nervous system. We increase cortisol in the body, which increases inflammation. It causes insomnia. It lowers our pain threshold. It is one of the factors in infertility, in migraines, in anxiety, depression, and in weakened immunofunction, which is something that I said before. But and so where does yoga come in? Yoga meditation, breath work. And that's something I wanted to say before, that when we use the word yoga, yoga is generally an 8-limbed practice that actually, in reality, is like an umbrella that includes the asana or the postures, the breath work, the pranayama, the concentration, right, the meditation. And so all of those practices are really included under the term of yoga, but in this day and age, it has been separated. Just wanted to make a point on that. So where does it come in? So the meditation, the breath work, the postures, the focus, the concentration helps to induce what Dr. Herbert Benson out of Harvard University called the relaxation response, which is when the parasympathetic nervous system is uploaded by breaking the sympathetic nervous system response and uploading that parasympathetic nervous response of rest and digest and other critical functions, including eating and breathing and restoration and repair, healing, digestion, elimination, procreation, creation, thinking, playing, joy, love. These things are our survival is equally dependent on all of those factors as it is on our ability to run away from a tiger. Right?
Absolutely. It's a holistic healing system. Our bodies are amazing and self-healing if we allow it. And having that extra stress or being fearful. That's why fear is so bad, because that element causes stress. And that stress, especially during what we've engaged in over the past, I would say, 15, 17 months, that stress elevated all the time is going to kick in all of those elements that you said before, being in depression, gaining weight, all these things that have negative effects on us, not being able to sleep. Yeah. So you're listening to Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. We have the great Lisa Bondy on, and she's going to come right back with us. We're going to continue our conversation about yoga. Really, really informative. And we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Healthy Lifestyle. I am Lorianne. So thank you so much for staying with us today. If you have any questions or if you'd like guests on or you have some ideas, please feel free to reach out. We love your comments. We've been interacting with a lot of you and really appreciate your feedback. Just email us at healthylifestylewithla@gmail.com. Gosh, I definitely need more Ningxia drink this morning because I am just stammering all over the place. What's going on with me today, Michael?
I don't know. What's going on?
I don't know. Lisa, thank you so much. So I want to continue our conversation about the holistic healing system. I think it's really important for us all to understand how our bodies work so we can do a better job at protecting it. And doing yoga is so all-encompassing. I love pranayama work, which is breath work. I love it to death. So how do you integrate all of these things? And I know you've been doing this a long time and you have certifications in all kinds of different types of yoga. There are many, right?
Yes, there are many kinds of yoga, but here at the center where I do teach and I oversee the yoga program, we offer many different kinds of yoga so that, as we were saying before, we meet people where they are and address their needs. We have Hatha yoga, Iyengar yoga, Vinyasa yoga. I don't know if this is Greek to people, but Ashtanga yoga. I offer chair yoga, and I have wonderful seniors in that class, cardiac medical yoga, yoga for pelvic health, meditation, Reiki, energy healing. We have all kinds of yoga here. And then we also have Pilates and acupuncture. And we have a book club. We have a intergenerational women's healing circle. So the Center for Wellness and Integrative Medicine here in Roslyn, we are overseen by the Casdia Institute for Women's Health of Northwell, we are just thrilled to be offering these really powerful practices. And starting on September 22nd, we will have Dr. Penny Stern, our lifestyle medicine physician, and she will be offering lifestyle medicine, which I think is really a wonderful offering and fascinating because it's an evidence-based approach that focuses on promoting positive lifestyle choices to prevent, treat, and manage chronic disease.
Yeah, totally brilliant.
So, rather than just like, here, take your medicine, right? It's like, let's give you some movement, let's give you some nutritional work, let's give you some,
essential oils
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm a big essential oil fan. Everybody who listens to my show knows that. and it's real important. If we can get ourselves off of toxic chemicals, medications, things like that, and take ourselves to a position where our body is disease-free. That's the direction we're going in. That's the direction we hope to go in, which is great because it's a nice marriage of Western and Eastern medicine. We need that acute care, that acute medical care, but long term, we need to also be able to sustain and allow our bodies to protect and have the immune system that's necessary so we can fight this, whatever comes at us, off, right? And that's how it's been working 100%. For years. Yeah. I look at, it reminds me of my grandfather. My grandfather used to eat terribly. This man lasted into his 90s. I mean, he would eat the fat off of my steak because I didn't want to do that. I didn't like that. And he'd like, well, that's the best part. And he would take that. And I'm like, oh, for God's sakes. He would smoke. Not that I'm encouraging smoking at all. But he finally gave that up. But he would just do these terrible things. And as far as eating goes, as we understand it today, and yet the man lived a gazillion years. And he had this saying that says, listen, we're responsible for eating like 10 pounds of dirt a year. And I was just like, what? And that was his philosophy. It's just like, you got to let your body do the management and you got to take care of your body so it does it. And he was very fit. He didn't do yoga, but he did exercise every day. And I think that really had that in his mindset had a lot to do with his longevity.
Yeah, I'm sure it did.
Yeah.
Our elders, in some ways, they had an advantage that, really they were brought up on whole foods.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't a lot of garbage back, 50 years ago in the same way that there is now. I'm sure he didn't drink soda like it was water. Right?
Oh, he didn't drink soda at all. No.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah, I would say that my grandfather would have been noted in the grocery store today to shop on only the external portions of the store, which is all our needed extra healthier foods, if you will.
Right.
But bringing it back into yoga, and I love that the center does this. I love that you're just trailblazing this and integrating it and offering this, because this has helped people with alcoholism and drug addiction and Alzheimer's and anxiety and depression and hyperactivity, right? Eating disorders, diabetes, because they're really focusing on their wellness holistically and incorporating good things. I just recently did a ditch and switch. I ditched all the chemical products that I had. And it was funny. I had an aha moment. I was like, why do I purchase the products that I do? I don't know what made me ask that question to myself, but I did. And then I thought, it's because my mom used to purchase it. I would grab the same products because mom used to use it. Didn't know why, but mom used it, so I use it. And I recently had that aha moment and went, you know what? It has a lot of chemicals in it. So I ditched anything with chemicals and replaced it with natural products, because I also know that living on Long Island, we live on our aquifer. So every time I take a shower and that goes into the cesspool, that's going to eventually drain into our aquifer. So I need to be mindful of that for my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren, right? So that was a recent thing that I did to add to being very mindful of my activities of things I put in my body and on my body.
That's such a, I just love that so much, Lorianne. I just want to say that it's so important to recognize that, that we're connected to everything and everyone. That it doesn't just end at the end of our arm, right? We don't just end at the end of our arm, but we're one with our planet, and we need to, as we take care of ourselves, we need to take care of our planet.
And it's a give back too. I know, I'm also a certified herbalist. We are trained that when you take a plant up, you have to leave something behind. So you will do a tincture, press out the tincture, and then you'd go back to the earth and bury that so that it has an opportunity to plant, has an opportunity to come back if it could. But it also nourishes the soil around the other plants. So you're constantly, it's a give and take. Everything is a give and take with our environment. Everything's a give and take with what we're putting into our system. And that's the same thing with yoga. Do you think this is why yoga is so popular in the West and in the modern times? I mean, what is this big change? Because I'm telling you, I've been doing it for a long time and it wasn't the cool thing to do. I got certified as an aromatherapist and an herbalist back in the, I don't want you to do math, but the 80s, don't do math. And it was, it was something that was almost air quotes underground because it wasn't the cool thing to do. Now it's like the coolest thing in the world. What happened?
I agree. I'm so with you because I was in the underground too.
Yeah, you and me. We were just hanging out, like saying, we do yoga. We had to whisper it, yoga.
But now it's practiced. As of 2017, that's the statistic I have. It's 36 million people in the United States are practicing yoga. That's a really big deal. 36 million people. So, I mean, it used to be when I started practicing yoga, and my first yoga class was in 1969, so don't do the math.
Not doing math.
I was 9 years old, and my mom this is 1969, like it was ecology and the Vietnam War, and my parents were divorced, and I had all this stress. I was 9. I took everything onto my shoulders, and my mother found a yoga class for me in the basement of a church. And, I mean, you couldn't find yoga. It was like there weren't these beautiful yoga centers everywhere you looked.
Right.
So she found this yoga class for me, and it was wonderful. But now yoga is everywhere. 36 million people practice it.
It's amazing. And, I remember the pictures of Woodstock. Remember the pictures of Woodstock, and they were doing like yoga and things like that, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, those people are crazy." Now it's like it's a really cool thing to do, and they have nice outfits now too.
You don't need the outfits, but they are nice. I agree.
Yes, you don't need fancy outfits. You just need comfortable clothes.
That's true. But it's practiced by the children in schools. It's practiced in prisons by the incarcerated population, which is wonderful. It's practiced by seniors in chairs. It's practiced in recovery. It's practiced in hospitals by staff and patients. It's really... that's why there's been a shift really in healthcare, is because people know that it is helpful to them.
Yeah.
And it's really wonderful.
So now that you blaze that trail, now I need you to blaze the trail of hospitals allowing people to have diffusers in their room so that they can be diffusing essential oils, and that will help them expedite their getting healthier. So I love that.
I brought a diffuser into my father-in-law's hospital room when he was in rehab, and they let us do it. So, I mean, I don't know if there's a policy or not, but I agree. We actually have these. They're like these little inhalers kind of thing. They're essential oil inhalers. They look like what you would stick up your nose, but you don't. You just wave them underneath your nose.
Okay. Almost like those Vicks things, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep. But without the toxins.
Right.
Yeah. I actually have a personal diffuser. It kind of looks like a wide pen, and I travel with it all the time. And this way, if it's really cool, you can get it on Amazon. But they're personal diffusers, and you put a little water in, bottled water in, a couple of essential oil drops, and then you're diffusing right there in a personal environment. You can put it in your car. It's really, really good to have around. I mean, I'm a big proponent of bringing diffusers into classrooms so that it sets a setting, and it creates a really nice environment that's calming and beautiful and allows people to learn quicker, better. It's clearing. It's mind clearing. Same thing with yoga. It really helps clear your mind. I find after practicing, and I'm, see if you agree with me, Lisa, on this. After I practice, I get my best answers. So when I have a really difficult choice to make, or I'm having to problem solve something and I'm just not coming up with the answers, I either meditate and/or do some yoga, and inherently, I will, at the end of that practice, have the answer. It comes to me so clearly. I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense. And boom, I'm on to the next thing. So it's a nice thing to do in the middle of the day or when you're having a challenge, don't you think?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I always say this, that, regardless of how you're feeling, like your best practice is going to be when you're really stressed and when you're not feeling great, and you go to your mat and you do your practice and you come out, really nothing's changed in your life, but everything feels different. Yeah. So, and just as honestly speaking, I was a little nervous about this interview, and I said, I'm just going to do a practice, and I did it, and it's very mind clearing. Yeah. It's and just de-stressing is a very important practice.
Yeah, I love to go there. I use it to reset. Right? I use it to reset. And I saw something that was really beautiful. I was down in Port Jefferson, and I was doing some photography with a friend of mine, and I saw this, what I presume was an au pair or a nanny. I'm not sure. But she was teaching them. It was clearly homeschooling them. They were very young children, and they stopped after a while of whatever class they were doing, and they did some meditation, and then they did some yoga moves, and then they went into like an arts class. And I was like, oh my gosh, if only back when I was young we were doing that, how much further along I would be. But that wasn't, I wasn't ready for that back then, whereas I am now. And I think the bringing it into our children is so important.
Well, absolutely. Kids practice in schools and out of school, and it really, because it's non-competitive and it brings you inward and it helps you to develop kindness and compassion to yourself, and really appreciate it, builds confidence, and appreciate your own light, your own strength, It is a really wonderful practice for kids, as well as for adults. I mean, adults are just big people who carry their childhood with them, right? So.
I always say I'm this many and I hold my hand up with 5 fingers. So, my inner child is very, very active in my life, and it's a good thing. And I like it that way. We hold on to, that imperfected, perfect little child. And I love that. So bringing this to our children is really a gift, I think, a real gift. And that what you do is a real gift. And being nervous about this, you have no reason to be nervous about it. I'm actually going to ask you this question. You're so knowledgeable. You have so much wonderful information to share. When are you writing a book, girl? We need to get you to write a book.
Oh, my goodness. I have a couple of books in my head that I have been saying I'm going to write for a long time. It's a little embarrassing.
Now's the time. Now's the time. You got to write a book. That's all I keep hearing is she should be writing a book. She should be writing a book. So I said it there. I put it out there. Now you can't back away. You got to do it.
Okay. I'll talk to you about that, Lorianne.
Yeah, seriously. And if you do decide to do it, let me know, because I know people who help people do that. That is not my bailiwick, but that is definitely, I do know people, and you have so much knowledge that needs to get out there and shared amongst other people. So yeah, I totally encourage you to do that. So in the last few minutes, I just want to know, what's your why? Why do you do what you do?
So why do I do what I do? Yeah. I've never been the kind of person who could live an inauthentic life. That's really the truth.
That's beautiful.
And I do what I do because it's what my life is all about. The most fulfilling piece of my work is one of the most fulfilling parts of my life. I want to share what I know to be a powerful and potent tool to evolve into a healthier, happier human being with everybody I know. And I get so much out of seeing people receive it. And that's really why I do it.
You're amazing. Just totally amazing. Write a book. So if you want to contact Lisa, it's lisabyoga@gmail.com. lisabyoga@gmail.com. You're amazing. Just totally amazing. Final thoughts?
Oh boy. Final thoughts. I do want to say that, again, I feel so grateful and privileged to be working with an incredible team here at the Center for Wellness and Integrative Medicine in Roslyn, and to be under the guidance of the Katz Institute of Women's Health. And I'm just so, it blows me away that Northwell wants a Center for Wellness and Integrative Medicine, that here's where we are in the world right now. And in the midst of this very difficult time, this pandemic, which I believe we are coming out of, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Thank goodness. But in the midst of all this, we have served our communities and so well. I mean, I get testimonials from people all the time thanking us we have online classes, obviously, who doesn't, but we have online and in-person classes. We've been teaching virtually since we were allowed to in September, and we went online on Zoom the day after lockdown. So, and served our community because really we are so much better together. And we're stronger. We can handle anything that they throw at us.
Oh, my gosh. Yes, and yes. That's a beautiful message and perfect. I have nothing else to say. Lisa, thank you so much for joining us today. You just blew it out of the park. Lisa Bondy, it's lisabyoga@gmail.com. Please reach out to her if any of what she said resonated. Apparently, she'll be writing a book in the real near future. Thank you all for joining us today on Healthy Lifestyle with Lori Ann. Again, I want to thank you, Lisa, for being on. We are here to serve one another, so please take a moment, step out of your day, do a little something for someone else. In the meantime, thank you for joining us on Healthy Lifestyle. I am Lori Ann Casdia. Until next time, play a higher role, serve a higher purpose, show up for you, and show up big.